Good morning. This is the last day of September, the 30th of September, and we're continuing with our look at Proverbs chapter 19, and we begin with verse 19. A hot-tempered man must pay the penalty. If you rescue him, you will have to do it again. So people need to learn from their mistakes. If they never learn from their mistakes, they continue to make the mistakes. And this is one of the things, particularly with young children, that you want to do. Young children that you want to do. You want to correct their mistakes before they get to the point where their mistakes are causing serious harm to themselves or others. With a hot-tempered man, his mistake is that he's hot-tempered. And he's going to continue to be hot-tempered until that mistake is corrected. And they're saying, he's going to keep doing the same things until the penalty happens. And even then he might or might not, but at least there's a chance with the penalty that he'll learn not to do it. Go to 20. Listen to advice and accept instruction, and in the end, you will be wise. So again, you need to have discipline and be disciplined in order to change your behavior. And often, we ourselves don't see the fault. We need someone else to help us see the fault. And certainly we need God to show us what our faults are. And so listen to that instruction, and eventually, you will come to the point where you understand the things which God means for us to understand. 21. Many are the plans in a man's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails. This is, true in many different ways. I think of my eldest daughter and all the things she says she's going to do, but finally God puts her where she's meant to be. Or I myself didn't think I would be a pastor, but God put me where I wanted to be. Or Jonah thought he could escape and let Assyria and Nineveh suffer God's wrath. And instead, God's plan prevailed by putting him on a ship where God caused the faith to be planted when they had this storm event. And then by getting him to Nineveh, where God again caused his grace to be shown through Jonah's teachings. God's plans are going to prevail. It's okay to have designs and desires, but we should realize and recognize they often get changed by God to something which is better. 22. What a man desires is unfailing love. Better to be poor than a liar. Okay. What a man desires is unfailing love. The only place you can truly find unfailing love is God. So we should go to God. That's where our heart's desire really is. But you also desire it from your spouse. And if you wish to have unfailing love, since it only comes through God, marry a Christian spouse. That's the only place where unfailing love really happens. The second half, better to be poor than a liar. I think our politicians need to hear this one. Not only because God hates liars and God punishes liars, but, life is somewhat difficult, and for the poor it's very difficult. But the poor are blessed by God, and so eventually in eternity you will be blessed, and even here and now, people will understand that you're an honorable person, and they'll respect you for being an honorable person. 23. The fear of the Lord leads to life. Then one rests content, untouched by trouble. The fear of the Lord leads to life. Number one, eternal life. Number two, as we have been noting time and time again, the fear of the Lord leads you to the knowledge in the Bible that he has revealed. The knowledge in the Bible gives you the systems which he has set up and explains how best to deal with people around you. And so it leads for life for those around you. It leads to you training them up in the way of life, which leads them to God, eternal life, and to living better lives with those around you. And the second half, then one rests content, untouched by trouble. First, in eternity, obviously, eternal rest and no trouble exists then. But secondly, if you follow in the way God sets up, that removes from you many of the worries. Okay? It's in God's control. God will do things for the good of his people. I am not at fault. God has forgiven my fault. And God is the one who will use what I am doing for the good of his kingdom. So you can rest content and untroubled because you put everything in God's hands rather than trying to do things on your own. 24. The sluggard buries his hand in the dish. He will not even bring it back to his mouth. Wow, what an image that is. You're too lazy to actually get the food from the table to your mouth. You're too lazy to do the simplest thing, which will keep life and which will satisfy your hungers and your desires. You're so lazy that you suffer. What a horrible image. And yet, this is a reality, and it's not just with eating. So there have been people who have been told, you know, if you just go to work, and that's all you got to do, we'll pay you. It's not hard work. You know, you've been given an easy job. You stand here, you slide things through a scanner, and they don't even make it to work. They don't even go that far. And then they complain because their life stinks and they get fired. And they don't have a way to make money. Or they don't have, you know, you can just run through this. The whole idea, a sluggard, a person who's not willing to do activities which God has set, is going to kill themselves. And they hurt others. So really a powerful image and an idea which certainly has its place in time nowadays. 25. Flog, that means whip, a mocker, and the simple will learn prudence. Rebuke a discerning man, and he will gain knowledge. So when someone is beaten, they then show that they can keep their tongue. I made a joke in the sermon that the son in the parable Jesus had told, where the son said no to his father. I said, yeah, and then what happened to the son? His backside became exceedingly ouch. Flog a mocker, and he will learn prudence, not to say to his father, no, because he knows the results, the consequences. And eventually, hopefully, that leads to wisdom. Sometimes a signal to the rear end puts a signal to the brain, I should not do that anymore. Learns prudence. The second half, rebuke a discerning man and he will gain knowledge. When you rebuke him, now he's going to consider your rebuke. And he's going to look, if he's a discerning man, a wise man, he's going to look, is this a thing of God? Is this not a thing of God? Have I been acting in a manner which is with God's commands or against God's commands? And so he's going to gain the knowledge, oh, either I am acting in a manner which shouldn't have been rebuked, or I am acting in a manner which should be changed. We're going to stop there. We'll continue our video soon.